Welcome back. My great pleasure to be chatting with Shane Warne about all things cricket. Warnie, we've just talked about the fact that the World Cup campaign was derailed. You got suspended for the game for a year. Before we get to how you came back, what did you do in the year? Could you bowl at all?
Yeah, it was a tough one because government obviously funds Cricket Australia. So I was told by Cricket Australia that I could not train at any facility at all so it was whether it was club cricket, a normal cricket ground, anything, whether it was sport and recreation. I just couldn't train anywhere. So I thought...
So you couldn't go to the nets?
Couldn't go to the nets, no. Nowhere. Club cricket, MC Junction, nowhere. Wasn't allowed to go anywhere. So I thought, you know what, I let my body rest. I'll let my knees and shoulders and everything just try and I'll get fit and I'll spend plenty of time with the kids and I'll just do nothing, really. A bit like what we're doing now in isolation. So I took the kids to Spain and we went there for a long time. I can't remember how long, probably a few months. And it was great. It made me smile, made me happy, made me feel good. It was just a great time, actually. And it was a great time at that stage of my career. I'd played for 13, 14 years. So I'd played for a long time already at that stage. At first-class professional level. So it was a good time for my body to adjust, a good time to refresh the mind. And then I got, there's a girl called Lorene who used to train Russell Crowe for his movies. I got in touch with Lorene and she trained me and I was the fittest I've ever. I was super fit. By the time I came back to international cricket, which was nice of the selectors to show faith and pick me straight away after one second 11 game to go to Sri Lanka. But I worked really hard in those last few months, and the last couple of weeks before it was the first time I bowled.
So where'd you bowl?
A mate of a mate's had an indoor cricket school out at Whoop Whoop, and I can't remember where it was, at Dandenong maybe, somewhere out that way. And it opened up early at 6 a.m, and I bowled to my brother, Glenn Robbins.
Glenn Robbins?
Well, I wasn't allowed to bowl to anyone. And that's what I did. I bowled for a little bit of time.
Were you knocking Glenn over or not?
I think Glenn was just pretending to miss him to make me feel good.
Yeah, right. So you went...
So that was it, and a few other mates and...
Glenn Robbins.
But I only did that for a couple of weeks before I got picked to go on tour, so I didn't basically bowl for a year.
You went to Sri Lanka and we've managed to find the vision. You came back like you'd never been out of the game. Was it resetting your own mind, like you're talking about belief, etc.? Did you arrive on this tour thinking, have I still got it or not?
Yeah, well, I didn't bowl at all. So I started to think, well, am I going to give the game away? I got pretty low with things. I got pretty disappointed. Yeah, I thought, you know what, I've done so much in the game. I'm
glad you didn't.
Not happy with everything the way it was. So that break did me good. And then to come back after only a couple of weeks, I played, I think, one tour game. Then to come back in Sri Lanka, we were behind this series. We were behind in every test.
Yeah,
it might have even been 100 runs behind on most innings.
Well, she looks hot.
Yeah, it was boiling. And to come out and take 10 for, 10 for, 7 for after not bowling for a year, only a couple of weeks before we went into the start of this series, to take 27 wickets in that series, to be behind on the first innings in every test match and win 3-0 was an unbelievable series win by the guys. It was a fantastic. And for me, that's why Sri Lanka's always got a special place in my heart. And then, the year later when the tsunami that hit there, I rang Murali. I rang some courier companies. I rang some other sporting goods people. And we got all sorts of things, cricket bats, balls, colour-in books, everything. And I jumped on a plane. When I met Murali down in Gaul, an hour out of Colombo, and these kids, their kids have lost their family, their parents and everything with these tsunamis, and they were lining up saying thank you for these colouring in books, cricket bats, balls.
How did it affect you, the experience?
It was heartbreaking. I'm not sure if people remember, there was a picture of a train with families cuddling up against. It was just horrific. So to be there, to try and help put a smile on these guys that love cricket, that was the least I could do. But it blew me away to see these kids. But I was glad I could help, and that's why I went. I was Sri Lanka '92, then 2000 had such a special place in my heart. To then go back and be able to help out in a tiny little way with Murali, and help his friend Kashil, who ran an education school down there. I was glad to be able to help.
I don't want to skip too far, but we've only got a certain amount of time to talk cricket.
Yeah.
2005, I'm not sure if even you know how many Ashes you won.
I think I played in 8 series and lost 1.
Right.
I think it was 8 or 9. I'm not sure.
So the one you lost where you were under the pump, on the ground, off the ground, all over the shop, but you made a lot of runs and you got a lot of wickets. You were by far and away Australia's best player. Without going into the details and KP, etc., what is it like as an Australian cricketer that's had so much success in such a dominant team? Like the guys in this team, you'll see there's Clark, Gilchrist, Hayden, Langer. You know, these are some of the best players we've ever had. Ponting. What's it like when you leave England without the Ashes?
Yeah, it was a strange feeling. We had dominated England for so long. I was captain of Hampshire for a few years before that and played a couple of seasons at Hampshire. So I knew that the England team under Michael Vaughan was starting to evolve. They're starting to play well. I was playing, and Kevin Peterson's captain at that stage too. So I knew what a destructive player he could be if he performed. And, you know, Flintoff was starting to do well. Warnie was captaining well. Suddenly Strauss and Trescothick were opening the batting well. Ian Bell was a young player coming into that side.
What'd you call him?
The Shermanator. American Pie, yes. That's another story. We haven't got time for that one.
It's a good nickname, though.
But so, yeah, look, it really hurt to lose to England. But to be fair, I don't think anyone minded losing in anything. I mean, we all hate losing as professional athletes. But if you get outplayed and you gave it absolutely everything you had, there's no disgrace in that. I think when you lose and you think, you know what, they didn't turn up today. They didn't. Effort is free. In any sport, effort is free. When you cross that white line, it is a choice. I'm going to put in absolutely and give it everything I've got, or I'm not. Or I'm going to take that side step here, or I'm not going to chase when I should, or, you know, I'm not going to concentrate, or I'm going to go off my own word. I'm going to think of other things. I'm not totally 100% in the moment and living right now. Because you can't change what happened 2 minutes ago. It's all about what right now. So I always found myself, I loved walking out onto the field because I never knew what it was going to bring, but I knew I was going to give it 100%, absolutely everything I got. And, you know, in the 2005 Ashes series, I felt I gave it absolutely everything I got. Should have got another 100 there. I got 90, whatever it was. But I was proud there because we were miles behind. You know, I took lots of wickets, made a lot of runs and all those things, but we lost and that hurt. But England were the better side and they deserved to win. And the reason people talk about that series wasn't just because England won. It captured the imagination of the public.
It did.
Because the camaraderie was there. The sportsmanship was there. The skill from both teams was there. It had drama. You know, so to play in an international sport that you're playing so many different countries around the world, to capture the world's attention in the sporting attention of the world, not just here in Australia, but everywhere in the world, to watch this drama. I remember probably one of the, you ask all the guys, driving to Old Trafford, Manchester, in the in the bus, we couldn't get to the ground. There was 10,000 people outside saying, can I have a ticket, trying to get a ticket, trying to jump over the fence. Marcus Trescothick left his car in the street and had to run.
Did he really?
To get there because you couldn't get through. We end up somehow getting through.
It's the joy of Test cricket,
but it's that captured everyone's imagination, and it was one of the great series. Even though we lost, you've got to take your hat off to England and say, well played.
From Shane Warne, he can bring things out of nowhere.
Magnificent piece of bowling from Warne.
Shane Warne round the wicket to Flintoff, who's on 73. Well, that's pretty convincing. Takes Shane Warne onto 599 Test match wickets.
What's that done? Now then, yes, out. 600 Test match wickets for Shane Warne. What a moment.
to end all sliders. Oh, that's out. Caught behind. Big neck.
That's great bowling.
Oh, he's got him. He's got him. Oh, Vaughan is going to be cranky about that. Ooh, that is close. LBW. 3 for Warnie.
Bowled him. There it is. The battle's over. And Shane Warnie gets his 4th. What a delivery.
Oh, that's got to be close. Oh, yes, up goes the finger. Warnie has got him. In the air, got him, caught and bowled. He's hit it straight back to him. Caught and bowled, and look at Warnie. That is a big wicket.
I don't know who writes your scripts because there's some incredible ones.
Yeah.
A 700th Test wicket
Yep.
against the old enemy at your home ground. Like, it could have been anywhere. It could have been in Gaul. It could have been in England. It could have been anywhere. It's at the MCG in front of your adoring home crowd. It's a ripping ball. You've got good tips in your hair, which is looking good. You're nicely tanned. I'm sure your family's there. It's I don't know who writes these scripts.
Well, I mean, this is to lead up to that. I was on 699 Test wickets. I just knocked over Monty Panesar in Perth. We win the Ashes. So remember how driven this team was after losing 05
Yeah.
to then come back. We in Brisbane, Punter, Hayter, we just nailed them. And we said, no more. You ain't beating us again. And we won 5-0. So I said, I'm not retiring until we win the Ashes back. Once we win the Ashes back, I'll retire. One in Perth. I remember saying to Punter, I need a chat. He goes, no. I said, punt.
Just shut you down.
He said, no. I said, Punter, I need a chat. He goes, no, we're not having a chat. And I remember through that Test match, I went and spoke to Ian Chappell, and who's was the biggest influence on my cricketing career. He taught me more than anything from anyone else. He was fantastic, Ian Chappell. So I thank him. But and because I respect him so much, I went up and asked him. I said, "What do you think about?" I'm thinking about retiring. He says, "Mate, it's better they say why are you than why don't you." That's all I say. I'm not going to say it's the right time or wrong time, but just ask you that question. I went, good enough for me. So that's when after that Test match finished, I said, punt, I'm retiring, I'm going to need a chat. And we had it, he goes, I understand.
He was giving this.
He was going, no, you can't do that. No, I'm not listening. And anyway, so I retire. Last ever Test match at the Boxing Day Test match in my home ground in Melbourne.
Roll it in again. We need to have another look.
In front of my children. I had the Shane Warnie Foundation, then we raised a lot of money. We had 1,000 people at the Boxing Day breakfast. So I was at the ground early. KP and Michael Clark came, which I really appreciated. That is still the loudest roar to this day that I've heard at any cricket ground. The World Cup, when Mitchell Starc knocked over Brendan McCullum, was probably close to it.
Yep.
But that, they're just pure joy, knowing you had... Everyone was happy for you. And, I mean, you look at some of the crowd, their faces. These are everyone from the Boxing Day breakfast. There's Ray Martin, Danny Minogue, all in it. There's 90-odd thousand people there. And to take... So 699 wickets. I should take one more wicket in any of my other 140-odd Test matches. I would add 700. There he is, Ray. So to actually take your 700th in front of my children, we've had to do it with this team that was an amazing team against England at my home ground in front of 90,000, but more importantly, in front of my children, was probably one of the greatest moments of my career.
So I can still remember it clearly, the retirement, the final Test match, the SCG, and I think Langer and McGrath as well announced they were going to retire after you already had. What is it like walking off the SCG? You played a lot of cricket, which we'll get to with the IPL and the BBL, etc. But what is this like after you've given 15 years to this team to think, right, I guess it happens to every athlete, but that's it, I'm done here?
Yeah, 1989, I got into the state squad, as I said. 89-90, got into the state squad, made my first-class debut in 1990. 2007, so 17, 18 years later from when you started as a first-class cricketer, to that's it. Retiring, walking off with my great mate, McGrath.
Gee, they're historic shots, aren't they, when you look at them now?
The Sydney Cricket Ground was an amazing ground too. It was a beautiful ground. I loved playing at the SCG. To walk off with my mate McGrath, who you know, I would never have got as many wickets I did if it wasn't for him. He was brilliant. He was the best fast bowler of our time. And to play with him was an honour. And to play with all those guys that you said before, to play in that era of Australian cricket in the early 90s and then the 2000s was something very, very special. And I joke about the pizzas and delivering and all that sort of stuff, but I wouldn't change it because the group of people I played with in those early 90s, Border, Hughes, and all those guys was unreal. And then later, these guys.
So
that era of Australian cricket that we had for 15, 16 years is as good an era of Australian cricket. I think I won 100 test matches out of 140.
And in your crazy busy life...
Should have got 100 in the last test too. I got 70-odd, 80, I think.
Seems to be a recurring theme.
I know, I gassed many.
In your crazy busy life, do you ever have a chance to sit back and actually think and reflect on what you did in the Whites for Australia and what it means to you? Or what does it mean to you now? Sort of, what are we, 13, 14 years on?
Yeah, not really. I know I am grateful.
That's a good adjective to use.
I'm appreciative for the time I had and to have the opportunity to play with those guys, because Alan Border was a great man. To have him as my first captain, then Mark Taylor, and so on. To play with those guys, and to look back at that era, I don't think I've probably stepped back and looked back at those era. But I just know I'm grateful for the opportunity that I had, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah, there's more money in it these days and all that, but, we just had a lot of fun too. We had a lot of fun, us guys. Think back to the 93 Ashes we talked about, and 94 South Africa, and probably the 99 World Cup. Those 3 tours were... Everyone that was on those tours, I bet would say that was probably their favourite tours. It was just fun. And we played some bloody good cricket as well. So... yeah, I look back with fond memories of the people I played with, the friendships that I made, the mateship. I don't so much miss the playing. I'm a competitor, so I occasionally go look at a pitch and I go, ooh, or the situation of the game and go, give me the ball. I'd love to get a bit twitchy and say I'd like to have a bowl. But I think it's the camaraderie you miss, the teammates, the silly pranks, the stuff in the dressing room and the change room and all those things. That's what you miss. And, when you catch up with the guys, it's like, you just reminisce and it's great fun.
Outstanding to walk us all through your cricket career. There is so much more to discuss. Life in the spotlight, life since you retired, but chatting cricket, I could do it all day. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Howie.
And this, of course, his last test match.
This is a wonderful moment for Shane Warne.
Incredible strike rate.
There he goes, played down the ground, 1, 2, 3 bounces for him.
Enjoy that, doing it to another spinner.
Here he goes, bang, big hit over the top, she goes all the way.
He's having a field day out there in his final test match.
He's on 49, field not spread, a reasonable field, 2 sips are going in. Bang, what a way to do it, through cover. Tremendous ovation. He's 12, 50. Couldn't hit any better than that.
Right, well, Shane Warne has got the ball now. Have a look at that. 145 test matches, over 700 wickets, wonderful average of 25. And he's playing his last at the same venue he played his first. And what a cricketer he's been.
Sweeps, yes, he's gone, it's all over. 1,000 international wickets for Shane Warne. England bowled out 291.
Oh, he's got him. I think that's out. Well, Shane Warne has struck.
Shane Warne going out of the game, is it going to live on?
It'll live on. We didn't know that it was ever going to come back until Warne played his first test match here, and you could see that he had something. That was in the game against India in '91, and just in the short space of time between that and 2000, he became one of the 5 cricketers of the century. So he has left a legacy And I'm actually pleased he's retired at the absolute peak and that he got his 700th wicket in Melbourne. I think that is a delightful way to go out.